Happy Monday, friends. Welcome back to another Monday Book Talk with me, AnnaLee Dragon. I am the director of the Kinderhook Memorial Library, and we are going to talk new books again this week, but not quite like the unboxing we did last week. So this week I thought we would talk about there are a bunch of authors that are super popular, really well known, and you're usually waiting for the next book of theirs to come out. And so a bunch of them have those books coming out in the next few weeks or months. And so I thought we would highlight some of your new titles by your favorite authors. So this isn't discovering something new or someone new necessarily, but finding your next read from your favorite authors, which you may or may not know is already in the works and coming out. So I'm going to show you, I've got 5 books, I think. I'm going to show you a cover of a book and then talk about the book, and we'll do that to get through them all. And then at the end, I will show all of the covers again so that if you've missed a title or an author, you'll be able to catch up and write it down, take notes, place holds, whatever it is that you want to do. So let's get started. As you saw there, the first book we're going to discuss about is Billy Summers by Stephen King. So I'm doing these in the order in which they were or are going to be released. So Billy Summers was released on August 3rd, so a few weeks ago. If you're a Stephen King fan, you may not know about it yet, but it is out and we own it at the library. So it says that from the legendary storyteller Stephen King comes a thrilling new novel about a good guy in a bad job. I think there's probably a lot of people that can relate to that. So Billy Summers is a man in a room with a gun. He is a killer for hire and the best in the business, but he'll do the job only if the target is truly a bad guy. So I don't know if any of you have watched the show Dexter, but this is sort of a similar theme in that Dexter is a serial killer, but he only kills other serial killers, other bad people. So that sounds like what our main character Billy is doing here. But Billy wants out of this business. But first there is one last hit he has to do. And he is among the best snipers in the world, a decorated war vet, a Houdini when it comes to vanishing after the job is done. But what could possibly go wrong? How about everything? So it's a can't put down novel, part war story, part love letter, small town America, which Stephen King is known for. He tends to focus on small towns and very Americana kind of feeling things. And it features one of the most compelling and surprising duos in King fiction who set out to avenge the crimes of an extraordinarily evil man. So they say you won't be able to put it down. It got great reviews. Stephen King is a master of his craft. So he does tend to tell darker, some of them are horror and some aren't. This one sounds more like thriller than horror to me, which is cool because maybe you're not a Stephen King fan because you don't like horror. You might actually like this book if you like other thrillers in this genre. So Billy Summers by Stephen King. And that one's already out, so you can grab it today. Okay, next book. So this next book, I know a lot of you know about because there's already a really long holds list for it, but maybe you're one of the people who didn't know quite yet, so now you do. The Madness of Crowds, which is the 17th novel in the Chief Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny, is coming out on August 24th, or came out. I've already lost track of what day it is. Came out on August 24th. We have multiple copies here, so if you want it, you can get on the holds list, which seems long, but you're only waiting behind our patrons. So this is Chief Inspector Armand Gamache returns to Three Pines in this Louise Penny's latest spellbinding novel. And they say it starts innocently enough when the residents of the Quebec village of Three Pines take advantage of the deep snow to ski and toboggan, to drink hot chocolate and share meals. The chief inspector finds his holiday with his family interrupted by a simple request. He's asked to provide security for what promises to be a non-event. As with the book above, what could go wrong? A visiting professor of statistics will be giving a lecture at a nearby university. He's perplexed as to why the head of homicide would be assigned to this task. It sounds easy enough, but then he starts looking into the professor's history and discovers an agenda so repulsive he begs the university to cancel the lecture. They refuse, citing academic freedom, and accuse Gamache of cowardice and censorship. And discussions become debates, and debates become arguments. And when a murder is committed, it falls to Armand Gamache and his second-in-command, Jean-Guy Beauvoir, and their team to investigate the crime as well as the extraordinarily popular delusion. So I think this one hits on a lot of kind of current event stuff that we're seeing right now. People with maybe some views that are considered outlandish, using the internet to kind of spread propaganda and things. Also, this idea of censorship and freedom of speech where really controversial subjects are involved. So it feels like it's very current and very of the moment, which I really like. And I know that there are people that are just huge fans of the series and this character. You've come to know over 17 books. You've come to know the inspector very well. And so it's like revisiting an old friend. So if you have read any of Louise Penny's books, next one is out and ready for you. And if you haven't, maybe it's time to either try out from the beginning of the series or pick this one up and see if you like it. And then if you do, you can always go back. Okay, next book. So the next title we have, which is coming out on August 31st, so next Tuesday, I believe that is, which is the day after today. I am having a hard time with my calendar lately. I don't know about the rest of you. It's called A Slow Fire Burning, and it's by Paula Hawkins. Now, some of you already know her very well because she wrote The Girl on the Train, which was a runaway hit years ago. We couldn't keep it on the shelves. I had to have 3 copies of it for years. They turned it into a movie with Emily Blunt. It was super popular, and so this is her much-awaited next novel, which is not connected to Girl on the Train, just the same author. So they said that the New York Times, this intrigued me. The New York Times said only a clairvoyant could anticipate this book's ending, which that gets me right there. I never see it coming, as I've mentioned before, so I'm not worried about that for me, but I think that's really interesting that they noted that. So it says, with the same propulsion that captivated millions of readers worldwide with Girl on the Train and Into the Water, which I also loved, Paula Hawkins unfurls a gripping, twisting story of deceit, murder, and revenge. So when a young man is found gruesomely murdered in a London houseboat, it triggers questions about 3 women who knew him. Laura is the troubled one-night stand last seen in the victim's home, never a good thing. Carla is his grief-stricken aunt, already mourning the recent death of yet another family member. And Miriam is the nosy neighbor clearly keeping secrets from the police. 3 women with separate connections to the victim, 3 women who are simmering with resentment for different reasons, and who are, whether they know it or not, burning to right the wrongs done to them. When it comes to revenge, even good people can be capable of terrible deeds. How far might any one of them go to find peace? How long can secrets smolder before they explode into flame? And you know that famous saying, you can only have a secret with 3 people if 2 of them are dead, right? Like, especially in small towns, nobody keeps a secret. So this sounds like a great whodunit murder mystery kind of thing. And I have a feeling that people who love Ruth Ware books would like this. And if you haven't read any Paula Hawkins, she's similar she writes a really page turner. You can't put them down. So I hope that you all check out A Slow Fire Burning. We own copies. They just aren't out available yet until tomorrow, August 31st. So check it out, put it on your holds list, and let's move on to the next book. As you saw, the next title there is called Apples Never Fall, and it's by Leanne Moriarty, who wrote Big Little Lies, which was turned into the HBO show, which was fantastic, and 9 Perfect Strangers, which is currently a show on Hulu. So she writes, obviously, things that adapt well to the screen, and they are usually full of really interesting characters, and it's usually what I like about hers, they're like a cast of characters. It's not so much one main person, it's an ensemble situation. In both Big Little Lies and 9 Perfect Strangers, that's part of the draw, is all of these different people and how they're drawn together and what binds them, sort of. So this is a novel that looks at marriage, siblings, and how the people we love the most can hurt us the deepest, which I think we all know to be true. So this is about the Delaney family. It says that they love one another dearly, but sometimes they want to murder each other. If your mother was missing, would you tell the police, even if the most obvious suspect was your father? This is the dilemma facing the 4 grown Delaney siblings. The 4 Delaney children, Amy, Logan, Troy, and Brooke, were tennis stars in their own right, and that they are now successful grown-ups, and there is a wonderful possibility of grandchildren in the future. So one night, a stranger named Savannah knocks on Stan and Joy's door, who are the parents, bleeding after a fight with her boyfriend. The Delaneys are more than happy to give her the small kindness she sorely needs. If only that was all she wanted. So later, when Joy, the mom, goes missing and Savannah is nowhere to be found, the police question the one person who remains, Stan, the father. 2 of the Delaney children think their father is innocent. 2 are not so sure, but as the 2 sides square off against each other in perhaps the biggest match ever, all of the Delaneys will start to re-examine their shared family history in a very new light. So it's a great family intrigue. Again, a cast of characters, not just a single person, which makes it super interesting because there's sides to be had in this and an argument and where do you fall and what do you think happened. So I'm really excited to read this one, and it comes out on September 14th. So if you haven't put that on your to-read list yet, you might want to add Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. Okay, I have one more book for you for this week. So I thought we'd end on a softer, subtler note, which also happens to be the latest of the dates here that I'm discussing. As I said, I'm going in chronological order. So Nicholas Sparks has come out with a new book, or is coming out with a new book, The Wish, and it comes out on September 28th. So again, you could put this on your to-reads list if you haven't already. So he's written a ton of books. The Longest Ride, The Return, The Notebook is probably one of his most famous. This novel is about the enduring legacy of first love and the decisions that haunt us forever. So Nicholas Sparks' books are, I guess, denoted by his love stories, whether that's familial love or romantic love or kind of all of the above. He also is they're tearjerkers, they're pull at your heartstrings, but they're not like thriller kind of books. So it's a different tone from some of the others that we discussed today. But he has a devoted fandom, and he writes not all the time. There aren't constant new books. So when they come out, they're highly anticipated. So it says that 1996 was the year that changed everything for Maggie Dawes. She went away at 16 to live with an aunt she barely knew in the Ocracoke, a remote village on North Carolina's Outer Banks. So we have some atmosphere too and some environment. She could think of only the friends and family she left behind until she met Bryce Trickett, one of the few teenagers on the island. Handsome, genuine, and newly admitted to West Point, Bryce showed her how much there was to love about the windswept beach town and introduced her to photography, a passion that would define the rest of her life. By 2019, Maggie is a renowned travel photographer. She splits her time between running a successful gallery in New York and photographing I am sorry, my mouth is all over the place today, photographing remote locations around the world. But this year, she is unexpectedly grounded over Christmas, struggling to come to terms with a sobering medical diagnosis. Here's the tearjerker element. Increasingly dependent on a young assistant, she finds herself becoming close to him. As they count down the last days of the season together, she begins to tell him the story of another Christmas, decades earlier, and the love that set her on a course she never could have imagined. So, as I said, this has all the hallmarks of a Nicholas Sparks book, which is what a lot of people love about them, is that there's comfort in them, and familiarity. So there's love stories, there's beautiful settings, there's another relationship with this young assistant, there's some tear-jerking elements and some hard elements about whatever this medical diagnosis she's grappling with. So I think if you are traditionally a Nicholas Sparks fan, you're going to love this one. And if you've never checked him out, maybe give this one a try and see what you think. And if you like it, there are just a ton that he has written before, and many of them have been turned into movies. And they're all, like I said, they share these same hallmarks, which is comforting to a lot of people. So that's it for this week, folks. I will be back next week with another book talk, and we'll pick some new subject, and we'll be in September at that point already, which is crazy to me. So if you have any questions or there's anything we can do for you, please don't hesitate to come in and see us or give us a call. Summer reading is wrapped up at this point, but we're looking forward to fall. Our next newsletter will be coming out at the end of September with all of the stuff we're doing from October through the end of the year. So keep an eye out for that. And we look forward to seeing you in the library soon. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.